Hello and welcome to the Week in Review, a show that brings you up to date on the week that was. Here are the top stories. Satyam springs a surprise, declares better than expected profits. Setback on goods and services tax, meeting the April 2010 deadline looks difficult. Government share in telecom revenue growth takes a dip. We'll tell you why. For all that and more, stay with me. I'm Vaishali Jain. Fraud hit Satyam Computer's surprise analyst this week by posting better than expected figures on Tuesday. The company's net profit shot up from just 4 crore rupees in February to 52 crore rupees in March. The results sent Satyam's stock up by 10%, hitting the upper circuit. The Congress-led UPA government wants to introduce a goods and services tax, or GST, that will replace the center's excise duty and service tax and the state's VAT by April of next year. But the government has not been able to mobilize support. Several BJP-led states are calling for a re-examination of the GST, and even allies like the DMK-led Tamil Nadu government have reservations. Mint correspondent Sanjeev Shankaran tells us more. So Sanjeev, can you explain the issues, and is it possible for the government to meet its April 2010 deadline?
Vaishali, today India has a fragmented tax structure. You have the central government, which levies taxes which are applicable to everyone operating in India, and each state functions like a little sovereign where they have the right to tax according to their own requirements. Now, the idea behind goods and services tax, or GST as it's known by its acronym, is to move to a unified country economically speaking. So we would have a unified structure of taxes where the rates would be uniform across states. Now, the implication of this is that states would tend to lose their right to change taxes according to their own needs, or maybe in an arbitrary way sometimes. GST has a deadline of April 1, 2010, a deadline that was set by the former Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, and states have been negotiating for at least 3 years now on this new tax system. What's happened is, as we've approached the last mile, a lot of states find that their interests are not exactly in harmony. Some of the poorer states are not comfortable with switching to GST because they feel that they would probably lose out on the new system. It would appear now that India will not meet the April 1, 2010 deadline, and negotiations will continue longer.
Okay, thanks, Sanjeev. And moving on, telephones are ringing nonstop in India, but they're not bringing in the same level of revenue for the government. Telecom companies share a portion of their revenues with the government as fees, but while they added more than 130 million new subscribers over the last year, the government share of their revenues have only grown by 17% this year, compared with 29% the previous year. One reason may be that many of the new subscribers are low spenders, so telecom companies may not be making much money from them. But experts say the current revenue system is also flawed.
The current system has all the advantages and disadvantages of a tax system. Advantages in that it is easy, disadvantages that it is quite prone to being fudged, because people do fudge their income, for instance, in taxes. Similarly, the operators, I think, sometimes can, and I suspect sometimes they do.
A UN agreement allows nations to have exclusive marine rights over the sea bordering their coasts. India is seeking an expansion of its region. So what are the implications? Here's an exclusive report.
The light blue you see around India's coasts are its exclusive economic zone, or EEZ. The fish in the seas and the oil and gas deep under the seabed belong to India alone. But now, India wants to expand its EEZ by arguing that hundreds and thousands of square kilometers of seabed are actually part of something called its continental shelf. This shelf is a long and sloping chunk of rock that connects the seafloor and the mainland. This, for example, is what the area around the Bay of Bengal would look like if you drained out the water. India's forthcoming claims extend far into the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, into areas that could be rich in gas hydrates and minerals. But there could be a problem. Sri Lanka has ambitious claims of its own, and if both countries make further claims, the two countries could find themselves in a dispute. The waters around India might get choppy in the coming years. For Mint in New Delhi, Jacob Koshi.
And in other news, the Sensex rose 0.9% this week, its 14th weekly rise. India's inflation rate slipped to 0.13% for the week ending May 30th, the lowest inflation rate in 30 years. And the Index of Industrial Production, or IIP, for April rose to 1.4% after 2 straight months of contraction. And that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching.